Аббревиатура DeFi или Decentralized Finance. Вы наверняка слышали. Единственный известный мне специалист, которого я вижу последний год регулярно, это Sandris Murins. Он одновременно English speaking, Russian speaking, и Латвия, и Германия, и Украина. На каком языке? It will be English. Okay, he'll gonna speak in English. Yeah, I'll find a presentation. Just start how you find it.
Thank you very much to everybody who came. So I would like to say two things. First of all, I would like to say I like the city more and more. So I just started falling in love with the city. So I think I'm in this city this year. It's my 5th time. So and the 2nd time I'm present. And second thing, what I want to say super big thank to one person who is here. It's Elizabeth, because she always, when I'm here and when I talk, she always gives me some kind of suggestions to improve, and I hope that this will be the same case. So today I will talk about future scenarios of decentralized finance. So let's start maybe shortly. What is future scenarios? Future scenarios is not like the way, it's not like predictions on the futures, but it's the way how we can speak about futures. Because I assume, and like in those in social science, they assume that the future is unpredictable. But it doesn't mean that we cannot speak about future, right? And so this scenarios is some kind of tools which help you speak about the future. Why I could be like good candidate for this topic? I think because this topic joins me two things from my past. One important thing that I was government consultant for my state, for Latvia. And I was co-author of Latvian Sustainable Strategy till year 2030, and this is a document, like main document for Latvia till the year 2030. So it's a document which is approved by Parliament. It's a way which describes how Latvia will develop in the future, and particularly during building that document. So it is the first time when we're using this building future scenarios in order to provide people the materials how we can speak about future and how we can decide what kind of future we would like to pursue. This is the first thing, so it's my sociological past helps me to deal with the future scenarios. And regarding the decentralized finance, since 2016, I'm co-creating different startups in the field of crypto and blockchain. So the first I co-created in 2016 in New York. It was a blockchain protocol about bonds. So it's for institutional clients. Then I came to Berlin and we created first token accelerator in Europe. I was the first co-founder. And last year I helped one Ukrainian team. This I met a lot of people. I speak a lot of conferences, and this give me some kind of material which I can use in order to build some kind of tools how we can speak about the future. So today's presentation will be like 4 things. So the first thing, of course, we need to define what is decentralized finance. Second, what is big, how it's hugely different from institutional finance. Second, then what drives future, or which is the biggest unpredictability. And then I will show you all these scenarios. So the first thing, what is decentralized finance? For me, decentralized finance is an open financial sector that provides financial services using software that is built on top of the blockchains and in the areas where traditional financial sectors fails. So it's three big important distinguishing things. So first of all, it's open versus closed. Second, it's using blockchains, most probably public blockchains. And second is where traditional financial sector fails. So, and what is the biggest difference from crypto finance? Crypto finance use some assets which are on the top of blockchain, but not always they are built on using these premises. So what are the main use cases of the decentralized finance sector? To my mind, there are four. One is when we trust source of crisis. So let's say when traditional or local financial systems fails, like it happens in Turkey last year, or in South America, like Venezuela, when it starts failing, when there is hyperinflation, when there is a currency problems with devaluation, the people just start switching, right? They're looking for best alternative. And again, when the stable times is, then they're going back to to traditional financial systems. Second is when they need to tackle global inefficiencies. I will tell you my story. My story is like that I have a business coach from Moscow. And I need to pay her 125 euros. And I started my payment with my local bank. So she has a Sberbank. I have a Nordea bank. She sent me all the payment details. I prepare my payment, push button submit. In 3 days, my local bank called me and said, can you just please provide more detailed information on the address of the sender? Because maybe to recipient, because maybe recipient seems, we don't know, we're not sure, maybe the recipient is in the blacklist and she cannot receive money. We need to address. So then what I did, I just asked her address. Then payment went through, and after 2 weeks, she's saying me, I didn't get payment. I said, how it could be? No, bank doesn't contact me. I don't see the 125 euros are returned to my account. Then I called the bank. The bank said, yes, we returned the money, but we don't return 125 because that's why you can't find it. But we returned a little bit less. Okay, then it was interesting how much less I got. So I got into my banking account, and I found instead of 125, I was returned 97. And I just asked, what happened? I lost a lot of money, right? 28 euros just going there and going back without. And then they said, okay, Sberbank doesn't approve transaction because there's some kind of small details wasn't wrong. But they charge twice transaction in and transaction out. So each transaction for me cost 14 euros. They understand, okay, this is not good time, right? So why I need to pay 14% for my just simple transaction? Let's do next time with PayPal. So I put in the PayPal, I send in the PayPal, I send to her, and PayPal send her message, please do not do the approval because it could be risky for you. Because there's something with countries. Okay, so next one, right? Next one was TransferWise. I did it with the TransferWise. And TransferWise is very easy. What you need to know, what you need to do, you need to know name, surname, and email, right? Nothing else. And you need to have a card. So I did it anything, just I pushed the button, and I asked her, please I did it everything what I can, just please take money from this. And she asked me, that she cannot do it. I said, why? Because you see, TransferWise ask IBAN numbers, but Russian banks doesn't have IBAN numbers, right? So this means that they return money to me back, and again, anything start wrong. And then finally, what we decide to send some ethers, right? So without any this hustle about the payments, this is one reason. Let's say we have like different kind of global financial systems. They are just very poorly interoperate or connected, and then there is good things where like crypto or decentralized finance could come in. It's one thing, of course, it's not only cross-border services, but it's, let's say, 2 billion unbanked people as well, right? So in generally, like our financial system, they fail of serving a lot of people in Africa, some part of Southeast Asia, and in Africa. Third thing is when you need to bypass local banks, right? Russia has banned how much money you can visit turn around the city. The same have in Chinese. So you have just restrictions. Or for example, one more restriction: Chinese people cannot invest in companies of global companies outside of China. Then again, what you do in that situation when local financial system abusing you trying to find a way around. And the third thing is empower creativity. Is when like traditional financial system doesn't allow you as individuals, talented individuals, to create something. They're saying only institutional or licensed legal entities can, for example, offer banking services or can offer like creating decentralized new derivatives. And then we can use these technologies in order to create this opportunity. What maybe it doesn't mean to my mind for adoption of crypto or decentralized finance. So basically what does it mean? It means we as a community, we can do whatever we want. We can maybe improve UX and etc. But mainly the biggest adapter coming from turbulence of financial systems, traditional financial systems. Where there is more crisis all around the world, the people are just switching to alternatives. When there's more stable times, they're switching back. So therefore, regarding about Bitcoin and anything in the future, just it's how turbulent will be environment. This will depend on the price of assets. So second is how it's closed, and open finance is different. So in closed finance, what does it mean good banking institution? Good banking institution means that you, in one institution, you combine three things, right? You combine trust. If bank is not trusted, there is no money, people are not putting in. Then it collects data, right? And makes smart decisions. So it's trust, data, and competence. And in institutional world, they all are into one place, right? But in open finance, do two things. So first of all, reinvented all these three things into software products. So into trust, we reinvented into blockchain protocols. Into data, we reinvented into oracles, like the decentralized one, like Chainlink. And the next thing, which no doubt, from my understanding, will be reinvented is competence layer. And it most probably will be reinvented as some kind of decentralized machine learning networks. This is one biggest missing element in order to, we could create a competitive financial system. That's one thing. Second is that in this case, the data, competence, and trust are offered into one united package. But in this way, I can choose as a client on which protocol, what kind of data, and what kind of competence I can use. It's not only happening in crypto space, but it's happening in trading as well. For example, in hedge fund industry, you invest money in hedge fund, and you don't know. You trust them, they have data, they trade, and in 5-6 years, they're giving back. There's one thing, how closed institution works. But in open finance, you have, for example, eToro account, and you just follow somebody, good trader, right? So you use not all this system, but you use only competence of somebody. And if you don't like, you just follow somebody else. And always, if you don't like, you unfollow it all and withdraw your money. So you as a client, what happens, you are more flexible to choose the ingredients, and they are not offered in one way. So you are not overpaying, in that case, to hedge fund institutions. Regarding drivers, there are two drivers which drive future. One is the divergence and convergence of technologies, and basically two ones. Here it comes from this idea. So this is like protocols, and here comes other technology, which comes more like artificial intelligence, machine learning. Here, therefore, we happen two modes. One is that these two technologies will be created separately, and they are not matched, like it's nowadays. When you go, there is like AI people and data people, and then there are blockchain and crypto people, and they're not cooperating. Let's say crypto people or blockchain people always say they are bullshitting these AI people, and AI people always saying, you know, this is huge old school, right? This is huge old school, what you do, right? So therefore, these communities are not overlapping yet. And the question for future is whether they will overlap purely and will start creating some kind of new technologies, or will develop in two completely different modes. This is one future driver, which is uncertainty. There's cooperate, diverge, and converge. Second is what to do with global compliance. What is clearly nowadays, there's two things. That any success of crypto projects become because you can unite different kind of communities all over the world. That's how you get critical mass. And nowadays, it's two things. We are in the world where more and more regulations are coming into and start beating. And you have two versions how you can play in. First, you can be global compliance. You go to each country, you have a huge cash, and you legalize. Legalize spending on lawyers. And what could it done? Only like companies with a huge cash, right? It's basically existing unicorns. Second, is that you do anything what you can do in order to not be regulated at all. So you reinvent in a way that it gives unique opportunity not to be regulated. Right? It's like with utility tokens. Utility tokens wasn't regulated, so then you can get this global coverage. Regarding security tokens, again, they are regulated. It will be very, very hard to build global competitiveness. That's usually what you do. You reinvent services, and you build on something which is already proven. Like a lot of people using Ethereum because Ethereum is approved by SEC. So you add some element again, which is not legal, which doesn't require legal licenses, and together with these two technologies, create similar services which could be offered by traditional financial regulations, but without regulations. I would say the biggest examples nowadays are Instant App, which connects different kind of protocols into together in order to create a banking experience or financial experience of banks without license. Right? This is like into that game. So they just create software which connects all these protocols together in order to provide you online banking experience, but which doesn't operate as a bank. Therefore, it doesn't need to have licenses. So now we have like two axes: global compliance and innovative vision. We have divergence and convergence, and from this axis we can start building scenarios. So we have 4 scenarios. One is, which is dominating now, so that we are building more efficient and interoperable networks. Second scenario, which we build geopolitical wars of unicorn coins. Yes. So Libra, and that's right here. Then third scenario, so we know about cars, right? Autonomous cars. But let's imagine we can build the same thing as the autonomous banks, who is not running by people, right? Who is running like softwares. So this is like emergence financial autonomous agents. And last one is when we do everything, we cross 2 technologies in order to create tools which help people to recreate finance. So that was the first scenario. It's more efficient and interoperable networks. What is basically the dominating scenario where all like crypto discussion are going on. And this is the ideology of crypto anarchism. This is the basic idea. We need the network where it can get rid out of people. Or not people, but institutions. And this is basically like German or Ethereum basic ideology, which the first time I have heard in 2017, in January, in one meetup of Ethereum. And their like biggest vision was, let's build Ethereum blockchain with the idea that blockchain could replace constitutions. So if we have a blockchain, we don't need governments, we don't need any institutions, we just replace them, right? Directly. And this is this idea, where anything discussion are going, of course it's going, we have networks. It's 2 things. How to connect networks together, the one hot topic. And second hot topic, how to make these networks more efficient, right? How to make this more efficient in a sense, so that how we can create a better consensus mechanism, get verification, starting from proof of work, from proof of work to proof of stake, from proof of stake to proof of delegated stake, from delegated stake we're going to sharding, right? It's anything goes here. And third thing, which I would like to refer to my friend and colleague Sergey Simonyan, I think this is going here as well, and it will go here as well, is that these like new treats appear, right? And it's what he said, it's quant computing, and it's a way how we can build protocols which is like quantum resistant. Quantum computing resistance protocols, this go in that scenario. The biggest examples, to that which drives the future, is Polkadot, Cosmos, and Chainlink. Chainlink is the biggest decentralized oracle. Polkadot and Cosmos are protocols which allows interoperability between different networks. Second is scenario geopolitical war of unicorn coins. I will refer to you, Evgeny, because it's always, when I'm saying about you. This is always the idea about Austria. It rooted, not in crypto anarchism, but it rooted idea of Austrian School of Economics, which are saying The basic idea is that governments are failing to create good monetary systems. Let's privatize them, right? Let's privatize them. And from sociological perspective, we see in the last years that privatization already happened. Like big transnational companies are privatized. There's a lot of things, right? Taking out of the states. Labor policies, anything is privatized. And nowadays, the first and largest thing what is ended, it's privatizing of monetary systems. And what usually are players who are doing that are big players like Facebook, like Telegram. So basically, it's the players who has a bigger user base than any country together. And what they basically are solving, they're solving of global inefficiencies. Like that's the case to sending money to Russia wouldn't be the problem at all, right? This is a scenario, and we see this scenario appearing. It's not only Libra, it's not only Telegram, but Chinese doing their own currency with Chinese bank, and we are starting, they're going like global clashes. They're going like one like Libra against governments, United States and Europe. Then there is a Chinese with Alibaba, with that together. So we are seeing this is an emergent landscape of clashes. And I think this could be next year or next 2 years, one of the hottest clashes or hottest thing what will happen in the fund. Second is the idea of emergence of financial autonomous agents. It's basically very close to what Elon Musk always is saying. And what he is saying that technologies are more smarter than people, right? So we cannot trust people, but we can trust technologies. So what does it mean? We need to build future where machines, when we build trustable machines, which operates better than we, right? And we know that there is a time to build, then there is a time to build cars, and the same thing here goes. Why is it true? Blockchain and AI communities could not work together in order to build banking to give banks which operates on technology without people, right? And there is a lot of people which like that idea and would go to this idea. And this basically are trying to create alternative trust because we know that banks are failing, right? We know that all like Wall Street guys lose a lot of money sometimes. So we would like to rely on the people which machines. So machines maybe not fail so much as Wall Street guys. Regarding examples, this should be to be created, and I think I spoke with Ocean Protocol founder and CTO, and we agreed that it will be next 2, 3, 4 years, we will see some kind of networks which will act as autonomous financial agents to replace and offer decentralized banking competencies for situations when anything has failed. And last one. This is a completely different approach how you can use technologies. You are saying AI and together with blockchain. The basic idea is it's more about Alibaba owner, right? He's saying what we need to do, we need to build technology which empowers people creativity. So that we people are end users and we need to have opportunity to self-realize, right? Where we see a lot of, so in Berlin there is a lot of startups which nowadays they are creating AI applications for people who have no music education. So everybody using these AI tools can create their own pieces, right? What they do, they just reduce barriers of people creativity, right? To create. This is basically this idea. Hot technologies, of course, is federative learning, what Facebook does, and some learning, etc. So the biggest thing is just it's AI ML adoption, right? And there are already some kind of elements which are appearing. Singularity Net, Numeri, and Ocean Protocol are all in this scenario. So these are 4 scenarios. How I could say that we can speak about future in 5, 7 years. But what I want to say, this is not like ultimates. That it will be this, or this, or this. There's 2 things. First of all, there are prototypes, how we can speak about future. And second is this future most probably will be reinvented by all 4 scenarios working together or interacting together. So regarding me, my mission is to help to build this kind of future, to build machines, banks, who is banking competence, who is not reliable on people, and just empowering people creatively. Nowadays I'm working on 2 projects. One with this one, with AI team from Ljubljana. It's they have Joseph Stefan Institute. It's the biggest, one of the biggest institutes in Europe. And I'm working with particularly people of AI lab. And what we want to do, we would like to opportunity for everybody to create his or his own market index. We will start with crypto index, and then with all other indexes. And the basic idea is that if I would like to invest specific market, which I define, for example, I would only invest in SP 500 companies where founder are women. What does the protocol? He finds assets which applies to these categories, and for you creates a basket and allows to this basket be automatically rebalanced. Or let's say, I only want to invest in companies whose founders are from Romania, but are located not in Moscow, sorry, but in Silicon Valley, right? So I would like only to invest in those companies. And again, protocols finds assets, combines into one index, into one portfolio, and rebalance. This is one thing. So, and this is done by AI team, as I told you, from Ljubljana. He's Miha Ciperman, Luka Stopper, and they all work in one institute. And Dmitry Chupurin, which is from Kyiv, advising us. And second is, we would like to create, like, there is a lot of regarding loans, right? This is a DeFi platform for loans nowadays. This is a huge decentralized crypto loans. That we would like to build opportunity that everybody in the world can go and invest across all P2P lending platforms and create his or her own portfolio based on his or own preferences. It means risk preferences and interest rate preferences. It's automatically are managed, right? So that not like I need to do something, but it's automatically managed portfolio of all world opportunities in the decentralized loans, which is empowered by you. So you want to like this portfolio, the AI helps you to build it. It's like in Latvia we have Mintos. Who knows what's Mintos? It's the biggest P2P lender platform which helps you people to allocate into P2P loans, not in crypto loans, between all the world between 2 platforms. Basically, we would like to create smart solution, but for decentralized lending. The team is led by Orest. He's the ex-investment banker who worked for hedge funds in San Francisco. He was particularly responsible for buying, selling, and grading loans. And this is his competence. Now he partly lives in San Francisco and Riga. And of course, I would like to help to develop and to connect to local communities so that we have CTOs and coders are from this region. So thank you very much. And thank you very much.
The passionate Sandris Murins. Great. Hope you have understood something, guys. Есть ли вопросы к этому замечательному, энергичному человеку? Я не знаю, где он берет энергию. Поехали.
Okay, my question is regarding your assets. The first setup. What was the name? Assets?
Blue index.
Yeah, blue something. So yeah, like how the algorithm picks up the assets that it proposes one to invest at. Like for example, the women co-founders. Like, does it analyze the crunch base or something?
Yes, it analyzes texts. So
the best way is to pick up the micro.
So what it does, he just scrambles a lot of texts, and from texts builds categories. And this particular technology is used before, but it's not used in asset management. So these particular guys, they use this technology for building some kind of text categories for, I don't know, for language industries or for other industries. And we're applying this kind of knowledge in order to they understand how to categorize assets in a dynamic way, and so that you can write and they can and they can start putting together categories. And from these categories, they are assembling the features of assets, and these together you can go and assemble into one portfolio.
Thank you. One more. Еще вопросы были? Была рука? Не было. Ну что же, еще раз аплодисменты этому человеку замечательному. Он здесь и готов в индивидуальном порядке вас просветить.